Torment I just gives you a straight up buff. All ranged, non-spell attacks deal increased damage. That pretty much just makes the OP weapons even more powerful. And as far as the Torment goes, it's not really much of a Torment. Kinda makes the map more of a fun little power trip to run through. Probably great for newer players or new accounts, though it might give a false impression of the true terrors that await in later Torments. So using overcharged OP weapons is great and all, but what's really fun is using one of the auto rifles here with increased damage and tearing through the map. Auto rifles are the closest we're going to get to an assault rifle class in this game. I guess technically they do function as the assault rifle class, and they stick to that archetype a little too closely. Mid-balanced, mid-damage, mid-range. With Torment I active on the map, and a few good Arcanas on the board, we can get away with playing more aggressively against larger groups of tougher enemies. I use the Curfane and Stigma Diabolicum combo and the Burning Stake for all 4 of the weapons, though I did switch up the rings. Dynamo Ring obviously deals more damage, but the Ring of Wings is used for strategic maneuvering. The Koshei was my favorite of the group. It was already pretty powerful by auto rifle standards, with a base damage of 20. With the Torment boost, its damage is probably somewhere more in the range between the Duelist and the Hunger. I haven't done the testing, so don't quote me on that, but it's certainly more powerful and more fun to use. Kinda gives you a glimpse of what this thing can do if it ever gets an actual buff. The Angelist most resembles an assault rifle than any of the other auto rifles in the game. It doesn't really have much to make it stand out. So yeah, here's your basic bitch assault rifle, folks. I have grown a bit more appreciation for the Angelist though, now that we have dozens of enemies coming at us at once in any given encounter. Sometimes it is nice to be able to stand out in the open and finish off a target or two without fear, so long as the Angelist has its shield active to block a hit. Sometimes it can even block 2 hits at once. It'll get a damage boost from that, then there's the Torment on top of that. It makes this thing hit pretty fierce. Other than that, there's not really much to say. It's just fun to use what essentially feels like a carbine in Witchfire, now with more power from this Torment being active. The Ricochet can really shine with its crowd clearing capabilities with the damage boost this Torment gives. I've already explored how much stronger the Ricochet can get with the right Arcanas and Rosaries in the build video I made for it. I didn't use the Curfane Stigma Diabolicum for that though, and obviously it didn't have the benefit of the Torment back then. Again, makes you want to see how this thing can do with a proper buff. Arcanas that will boost its damage are Deadeye, Full of Magic, Cascade. Then there's the increase we get from having the Torment active. And with so many enemies now populating these tougher maps, you're getting more opportunities in combat to tag larger groups of enemies for ricochet destruction. The Midas is admittedly more powerful than the stat card makes it out to be. Its damage isn't too bad if you can keep it in the heated range. Just don't go into the overheated range, or you're going to be disappointed. Torment I puts this thing in a more reasonable damage category and lets us see how it could perform with a slight buff. If you want to see a more powerful version of the Midas, or if you're a newer player or you're starting a new account using the Butcher class like I did, try out some runs with the Midas with Torment I active on Scarlet Coast. So yeah, since Torment I just gives a straight up damage boost to weapons, I wanted to see how the auto rifles would perform if they were a bit more powerful. After playing with them like this, man, I really want to see these things get a buff. Just a slight buff of maybe 5 to 10 points each on their base damage. That's not even too unreasonable an ask, seeing as how the maps are more difficult now after the update, and we're constantly getting jumped by hordes of monsters. Obviously, you could use any weapons you want here, since there's no limitations from debuffs or anything like that, like in the later Torments. But try out the auto rifles with Torment I active on Scarlet Coast if you want to see what this class can do if it were ever given a global damage boost.